All right, so we have an introduction to the IELTS speaking exam. We're going to talk about a few different things, starting with how the test is given, what will be judged, how long is the test, each part, how is the test scored, how is the test calculated, and we'll also define a few words in this presentation. So first off, it's a real-life test. So the IELTS speaking test is like a conversation with an examiner. Each part of the test will test different areas of your English ability, and there are 3 different parts to the test. It will progressively get harder in each part. So part 1 starts with the easiest and gets harder with part 2, and part 3 is the most difficult. If you want to score a 6 or higher, you need to really focus on part 3 of this test. So what will be judged? Your ability to speak coherently and accurately, your ability to formulate opinions, your fluency in speaking, your ability to support your answers logically, and your use of complex English. So let's look at what does coherently mean. So this is logical and consistent speech. So being able to answer questions logically and without losing track of what you are saying. So knowing what you are saying. So I was able to understand his argument because he spoke coherently. Also formulate. Let's define formulate. Formulate means to create or prepare in an organized way. So similar to logical, I need to formulate an opinion so I can write this paper about a certain topic. Okay, so those are the things the examiner is looking for. You can look in this section of the course for the band scores. There's a checklist for what you need for a band score 9, and also an infographic, so an image of what is scored and how the IELTS is scored. So how long is the test? The entire IELTS speaking test is 11 to 14 minutes long. So part 1 is about 4 to 5 minutes. It consists of introductory questions. This is 8 simple questions, 4 questions that are always the same for everyone, and 4 questions based on whether you are working or whether you are a student. Okay, and then topical questions, so 2 or 3 different topics, about 6 to 8 questions. Okay, and then part 2 is 3 to 4 minutes. This will consist of a task card. You will need to talk about a specific topic in 1 to 2 minutes. And there's 1 or 2 possible follow-up questions. Okay, and then part 3 is 4 to 5 minutes, and this is an in-depth discussion related to part 2. So what is part 1? Let's talk about part 1 a little bit more. Part 1, the examiner will introduce themselves and ask some basic questions about you and your work or study, depending on whether you're a student or you have a job. So the topics will be similar to things like hobbies, family, or some of your interests. It's a basic test of your English ability, and the questions will be related to you and ask about your opinion. Okay, so then, for example, do you exercise often, or did you eat a lot of fruit as a child? For part 1, it is important that you have a general opinion about several different topics. Okay, and then part 2, the examiner will give you a task card with a topic on it. So for example, it might be a city. Tell me about a city or an interesting place in your city. And you will have 1 minute to take notes. So write some short notes about what you will say, and then you will be asked to talk for 1 to 2 minutes about your topic. You should really plan to talk for 2 minutes during this part. Part 2 will test your ability to provide details and your ability to talk in different tenses. For part 3, this is the most difficult part of the exam, and the examiner will ask you more in-depth questions about part 2. So you will be required to talk in more abstract terms. You will be asked to discuss more complex topics and answer questions like how and why. For example, why do you believe robots will be important in the future? Or how will robots play an important role in the future? There is no one correct way to answer these questions, so it is very opinionated and up to you to use your English ability to formulate your opinion. So be able to answer the questions logically. So how is the test scored? So the test is scored on 4 different categories. Again, you can check out this section of the course to look at these 4 different categories: fluency and coherence, lexical resource vocabulary, lexical resource structure, and pronunciation. Then how is the test calculated? So you'll receive an average score based on those 4 categories. Okay, based on these 4 categories. So if you receive a 6, a 5.5, a 6.5, and a 6.5, the average would be 6.125, and you round to the nearest point, so that would be a 6. But if you receive a 6.75, you would receive a 7, and 7.37 would be a 7.5. So that's it for the introduction to the IELTS speaking exam. Please comment below if you have any questions, and I will respond to any questions you may have.